All right, number 37 looks a lot like the algebra homework that I help my daughter with pretty regularly. It's a blast from the past to your days in algebra. Anyway, she's in geometry now, but I still remember it from last year. Anyway, what's the equilibrium number of employee hours each day? And then what was the dollar value of an additional output generated by the last employee hour hired in the market? Let's do that, and then we'll go answer B. All right, let's start. So we have these algebraic expressions for supply and demand. I like talking about labor as L for labor rather than E for employment. So I'm just going to change it to that. So we've got on the demand side, we've got L. Let me get to a pen. We've got L equals 24,000 minus 2,000 over 3 times the wage rate. That's the demand. And we could even put LD there. Labor supply, the labor supplied is equal to negative 8,000 plus 2,000 times W. And the equilibrium condition in factor markets are that labor demand is equal to labor supply. And so we can solve this by setting 24,000 minus 2,000 over 3 times W equal to negative 8,000 plus 2,000 W. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2,000 over 3W to both sides, and I'm going to also add 8,000 to both sides, and that's going to get me the following. 2,000 plus 2,000 over 3 times W is going to equal 32,000. And from there, I'm running out of room. 2,000 is the same as 6,000 over 3. So I get 8,000 over 3 times W is equal to 32,000. I can multiply both sides by 3 over 8,000 to get the fact that W is equal to 3 over 8,000 times 32,000, which is equal to 12. So the answer up there is 12. In equilibrium, what was the dollar value of the additional output generated by the last employee hour? Remember that the demand is the value marginal product. So that's just another way to ask what the market clearing wage was. That's 12. But we have to find the quantity of labor at equilibrium, and we can do that by plugging 12 into either labor demand or labor supply. Looks like it's slightly easier to plug it into labor supply. 2,000 times 12 would be 24,000 minus 8,000. We'd get 16,000 units of labor, 16,000 employee hours each day. Now, suppose the government imposes a minimum wage of $24 per hour. What will be the resulting number of employee hours after the imposition of the minimum wage? And then we know that the minimum wage is going to reduce total surplus, but I'm going to guess it's going to increase workers' total earnings. But we're going to have to check that. So let's keep going. There's a long problem. I didn't leave myself quite enough room. We can figure out the employment at the minimum wage simply by plugging $24 into the labor demand curve, not the labor supply curve, because remember that there's more labor supply than labor demanded when the minimum wage is above the market clearing wage, and only the hours that the employer demands get hired. So 24,000 minus 2,000 over 3 times 24, that's what L is. L then is going to be 24,000 minus, let's see, 24 over 3 is 8. 8 times 2,000 is 16,000. And then 24,000 minus 16,000 is 8,000. So that's 8,000 employee hours a day. And so that gets us there. Now we have to check earnings. I'm going to go to red for earnings. Under the new earnings, we have 24 times 8,000. Let's see, I'm going to have to do this in my head. I didn't do this part in advance. We'll call this total earnings. 8 times 24, 8 times 20 is 160. 8 times 4 is 192,000. And then that's the originally total earnings were $12 an hour times 16,000. And those were equal, let's see, 12 times 16, 12 times 10, 120. 12 times 6 is 72. 192,000. Wow. Who would have guessed? They must have canned this problem. So what we have is minimum wage will not change workers' total earnings and will reduce total economic surplus. Let me just, while I'm talking, make sure that's will not change and will decrease. And that is right. Notice that the people that are lucky enough to keep their jobs do well. The workers that were employed and lose their jobs do worse. So even though the gains to some workers equal the losses to some workers, there's an equity issue, even though or a change in equity, even if the total earnings don't change.